want to pay to subscribers. We've got a lot of data out today. I keep saying it on Discord, but we do need to be aware of the economic calendar. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. PMI, PMI from the UK, sentiment index. We've got the CPI from Canada, and we've got the PMI from the States. The home sales are supposed to be a big beat. So the consensus is 2%, but it's actually going to be double. So that might boost USD because that's going to be linked into inflation and things. So we have a bad PMI. It might then reverse at the home sales. This is because this is supposed to be a big beat. Goldman Sachs has said that they're expecting a 4%. So probably see a little reversal, a lot of chop at the PMI, and then 15 minutes later, home sales is probably going to reverse things. It could be a risk-on situation, and that might be risk-on, so it's quite tricky. This could be risk-off, and then that could be risk-on, so we might have a big flux within like the hour. So be very careful, especially with CAD as well, because we've got the inflation data there, and lots of data out from the Eurozone UK. So the failure rate's okay right now. It could be a bit better. 65% is right. But just to be aware that we've got lots of stuff going on. Dollar yen SLC 135.09, 133.65. We've got weekly open, so it makes sense to target SLC. If you've got a longer term look, that's probably likely. Alternatively, we breach the weekly open. ATL target short. Okay, keep it nice and simple. We need to look at gold, don't we? We'll look at gold after this. Dollar Swiss, one above, 93. One below is miles away. We're down there, 90.50. I'm not sure why, but that's where they've got their stops in a big way. But that's what it is. I say in the breach of monthly pivot to target ATR short. We never did breach monthly pivot. We are above, so still potentially look for a sell because we are a sell at the static level. And at the dynamic level, they went long. So, we should probably be falling a little bit more. So potentially look for a weekly open to monthly pivot. It's 25 pips. Or you could do a monthly pivot to ATR, which is 72 pips. But we really should be falling on dollar Swiss. So let's look at gold. We made a sell, but you can see how very insignificant it was. These big candles. This one here is very insignificant, very low selling volumes, whereas this large buying. So we should see this hold 1822. This is important because 1822 is the level there. It's your support on the H4. Alright, so that's a bit of a strange confluence there. So 1822, the big boys, they stepped in and they bought, which we can see here, and then it's the H4 support. 1835 is your yearly pivot, so be careful, being above or below the yearly pivot. It's a very strong level. Because we've got the weekly open below, probably SLC, but really that should hold because of these bullish institutional volumes. And the selling is very insignificant. The sellers are now in control. The profitable traders are now selling, so that's interesting. So probably going to see a test of that. We've got the PMI later, and that's going to probably impact gold quite a bit. We are a sell at the big picture, so really, they're going long, which adds to the fact that it was a sell. But if they add, then it's going to add to, confirm that bias. So really tricky, very, very tricky. I haven't got a position open on this. I was thinking about a short, but then we went up. And then it looked like it was going to continue higher, and now we're currently falling. So be really careful. Perhaps you could wait for maybe an SLC bounce. You could probably place an order. You could have a stop there at the ATL target short. It's a $5 stop. You could wait for the stop loss cluster to be probed. Wait for a new hour. See if we've got like a wick below. Then you could have a stop there, where you target the weekly open. So that's something that potentially that you could do, but this should hold this box, okay? Um, yeah, so I'm kind of glad I haven't got a trade running on gold because it's a little bit confusing right now. Should be coming down, but then you've got that technical level. So that's that. That's the dollar Swiss. Let's look at AU, and then we'll look at EU and GU. This is AU. Wow, huge stop loss cluster above, humongous. 69.25, 68.60. So they're very keen on this to fall because we can see, the size of those stops. So obviously a lot of people have come in and they wanted to short the Aussie because you can see the size of the stops. So will they be right? They might be right. It might just want to get the one below first, 68.57, 59. But that's probably too much of a liquidity magnet. So potentially there, weekly open to target SLC, 60 pips. And we are wicking a little bit below, which is okay. This is obviously going to be tracking your risk appetite. We are risk on at the big picture, but the 24-hour change was slightly risk off. But it's just very, very skewed. Minus 25 SSI. So every one person buying, there's 25 people shorting indices. So really we probably can continue higher, but we did see a little change on the 24-hour difference. So this is probably a little bit too extreme, but if the indices rally, then our Aussie will do okay. We can wick below. Then we can grab those stops. Be really cruel. EU and then GU. Stop loss clusters are close. 107.05. 106.50 weekly open. We did probe it just now, but then we wicked. We had that data from the Eurozone, so that explains that move. So potentially a weekly open to SLC, only 23 pips, 36 pips there. So it's not much really in the terms of risk to reward. Like for 24 pip TP, you get probably a 2R if you're lucky at a 10 pip stop, but this is thrashing about, so this is probably going to stop you out if you're at a 10 pip stop. So you could wait potentially for a monthly pivot. That's a 40 pip move, which is a little bit nicer. Alternatively, you could wait for a candle to test the weekly open, test the SLC, 33 pips. So put the sideways. We are ranging. We can see how sideways we are. We're not really trending at all. We're just trending sideways, so there isn't anything to be said. We've got like a ascension, a descension, and a ascent sideways. GU, and that's the last one. And then I've got a load of stuff to do again, which is kind of annoying about house hunting. 120.75 and 119.77. So weekly open potentially it's a 55 pip move there. Weekly open 51, 52 pips there. So you can use it. We are currently a sell. We're 52%, and then you just want to look at your small time frame for entry. But you've got to be careful with the pound. It's very tricky. What it does, it makes it look like it's going to continue higher. Then they pull the rug, and then you're caught long. And likewise, it makes it look like it's going to fall, but then it really rallies, and you're caught short. It does that horrible sort of knee-jerk thing. So we've got to be careful with the pound. We are teetering on weekly open, and so potentially either side, really, because we're kind of 50-50, aren't we? So if I had to put a gun to my head, probably say the one below, because we currently are below. Probe that, 119.79. And then we can maybe even get the one above, but later on, maybe potentially tomorrow, or even at that US data later, potentially. So we can come down and grab that today or tomorrow. So that I think that's what I would say. Probably scenarios down first and up, but it's a quite uncertain 50-50. But as long as you know where your exit is, it says 120.25. It's a 5 pip, stop loss. Then you could wait for price to fall, or you can place orders as well. Don't forget you can sell or buy at the stop loss clusters. So that would be quite a nice place to sell there potentially, knowing that those stops have got absorbed. So be careful, and I'm going to be busy today again, and I will be busy for a few weeks actually, but I'm around if you need me. Just let me know. I won't mind at all. Have a good day.